Probably one of the more common questions I get through the show, through the channel from other people is like, how do I grow adoption? What can I do? How do I get my friends and family into it? How do I get my local area into it? How do I get my favorite coffee shop into Bitcoin? And so this is a really interesting story and a really interesting technique. This is from Nostr, Heineck over on Nostr. So he says, I'd like to share a story about adoption with you. Lately, I haven't been able to find time for meetups because of family and work, so I decided to focus on lunches instead. In a regular local pub, I asked the owner if he'd be willing to accept Bitcoin. He politely declined. I kept going there about once a week. After a few visits, I made an NFC card and loaded it with 1,000 sats as a tip. I also gave him a leaflet with instructions on how to access the Bitcoin. So let's revisit this part quickly here. So it says, after a few visits, I made an NFC card and loaded it with 1,000 sats as a tip. I also gave him a leaflet with instructions on how to access the Bitcoin. So from like the restaurant owner's perspective here, most people aren't willing to accept Bitcoin for their products or services because they don't really understand what Bitcoin is. They don't value it like we do. So instead of trying to pay for something and get something back in exchange for Bitcoin, what you could do is you could load up a card, you could send them sats, whatever it is, as kind of a bonus on top of it. Because then there's zero risk from them. There's zero friction, right? There's nothing, 1,000 sats. And also giving instructions on how to access the Bitcoin. So he says he's an older gentleman, not very interested in technology and doesn't have much time for experiments while running the restaurant. The following week, I tipped him another 1,000 sats. On the third week, he finally agreed to let me install a mobile wallet app for him. So this whole thing is like probably played out over a couple months. And the owner finally agreed to let him install a wallet app. Suddenly he had a bit of Bitcoin in his wallet of Satoshi. I asked him if I could start paying that way, with the promise that if it didn't work out, I'd exchange it back into cash for him. He wasn't too keen at first, but since I was a regular, he wanted to make me happy. From that moment, I announced in the local community that we'd meet for lunch every Thursday. A short meetup, a chance to exchange Bitcoin, learn something new, meet people. The only condition, payment must be in Bitcoin. So he says 2 months have passed since then. The group has been growing. At first, there was just 3 of us. Last time, there was already 17. For the owner, it's become a significant part of that day's revenue. He started treating us a little bit better too. Now he greets us from afar and even reserves the biggest table for us every Thursday, not letting anyone else sit there. So again, the first part here was probably 2 months, and then it's 2 months since then. So this is about 4 months overall. And he says every time I ask him if everything's okay, if he wants to cash out or needs any help with it. And you know what he told me last time? That he doesn't need to. It's growing nicely in Bitcoin. He even recently bought a fridge with Bitcoin. He said he had to use Lightning because he ran into some issues with on-chain. I never even mentioned the word Lightning to him, which means he's been learning on his own, and now he's becoming quite the Bitcoiner. So it says it looks like the pub might soon turn into a nice little Vexel point, a place where people can exchange Bitcoin for dirty fiat and vice versa. I'm writing this because I think it's a good blueprint, great blueprint. In short, it takes me about an hour. A week. Time I'd spend on lunch anyways. I meet people and it helps Bitcoin adoption in a very natural way. Hopefully it'll inspire more Bitcoiners to try something similar in their own area. And you can see here that Nostr appreciated that quite a bit. So there's 34 comments, which is awesome. But look at this, 12,036 sats for that post. It's magic, man. It's magic. And again, for anybody who might be kind of new to the show here, never watched it before, Nostr is basically a place where you can post, you can share information, knowledge, ask questions, interact with other Bitcoiners. And every post you make, you have a chance to get sats if it's valuable to other people. So in this case, it was 12,000 sats. that people sent into Hynek. 12,000 sats for a post. And you don't need to have X amount of followers on there. You don't have to have X amount of posts. You don't even have to verify your identity. Like there are I don't think they're sleeping on it, but people are just so uninformed about what's possible right now. And this is a perfect example. 183 likes, fake illusionary likes. This is Bitcoin. This is fiat. Zaps, likes. Bitcoin, fiat. Zaps, like. This is real value. You don't get anything for these things. This is just a quick hit of dopamine. It's cheap. This is real. So there you go. That hopefully, and I agree. That's why I wanted to share this story with people, because I hope it inspires somebody out there to do something similar to that. I guarantee if I was living in the city right now and I had the opportunity, and I might even do it and just go into the city and meet people. I'm thinking about it. I just have to find the right restaurant, I think, and I have a couple ideas, but I hope that inspires somebody out there to tap into that. I think that's the best way to do it. Just take it very slow. Do zero risk, zero friction, in the sense of you're giving them a tip on top of your meal that you've already paid for, a tip on fiat as well, maybe. I know in Europe, I think this is from a Czech country. And I don't think they're very big on tipping over in Europe. But here it would be one of those things where you have like a $5 tip. Like in the West here, we tip quite a bit, too much probably. So you'd have a fiat tip, you'd pay for your meal, and then you'd tip Bitcoin. Crazy not to. Give it a shot. The blueprint right there for you.